to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, sir. So, good morning to August gathering here. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Subhashchandra Parija sir, for giving me an opportunity to deliver welcome address for this plenary talk in commemoration of 125th birthday of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan and Librarians Day. So, first of all, I would like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Subhashchandra Parija sir, who has given his concurrence to give inaugural address. And I'd like to welcome Professor Manorama Srinath ma'am, former HOD and Department of Library and Information Science, University of Madras. And I'd like to welcome Professor S. Parthasadi sir for his commitment towards education and in library science to be part of this plenary talk. Welcome you specially, sir. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Sivasudambaram sir for accepting our invitation. And I'd like to welcome Professor K. Nityanandam sir, who is the president of MALA Madras Library Association and former university librarian and director of Anna University. And I'd like to welcome Mr. K. Venkatramani sir. And I'd like to welcome our chief librarian, Dr. V.R. Rajan, who is the organizing secretary of this program. So I like to welcome all of you for this plenary talk in commemoration of 125th birthday anniversary of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan sir. And last not the least, I would like to welcome all the people who are delegates who are part of this plenary talk and who are eagerly waiting for this program to continue. So welcome you all one again. Have a good session for past next 2 hours. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nityanandam sir.
Yes, sir. I request Professor Subhash Chandra Parija, Honorable Vice Chancellor of SBV Pondicherry, to deliver inaugural address.
Good morning. Vanakkam. Dear Professor Ganesh Babu, Chairperson of our SBV Library Committee of our university. Professor Manorama Srinath, former HOD, Department of Library and Information Service, University of Madras, Chennai. Respected Professor Parthasarathi, former Director, INSDOC. Dr. Shiva Chidambaram, Librarian, National Institute of Technology, Trichy. Respected Professor Nityanandam, President, Madras Library Association and Director, Anna University, Chennai. Professor Mr. N.K. Venkatramani, Secretary of the Society, and dear Dr. V.R. Rajan, our Chief Librarian of our library at SBV, and dear all participants participating in this unique program to celebrate the commemoration of 128th birth anniversary of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, the father of library science in India. At the outset, on my behalf and behalf of the entire fraternity of Sri Balaji Vidyapith, I extend a hearty welcome to all, hearty welcome to the speaker for the keynote address, and hearty welcome all the dignitaries who are participating in this program. I must express my sincere thanks to the committee for thinking of me and inviting me to inaugurate this conference. It's my pleasure to be to be with all of you in this inaugural program of the unique program to celebrate the movement of the library into India. As we know, our library, named after father of the nation, Bapuji, Bapuji Central Library, Sri Balaji Vidyapit, deemed to the University of Pondicherry in association with Madras Library Association, has arranged for this program in commemoration of the 128th birth anniversary of Dr. A. Ranganathan and Librarians Day. I congratulate the Madras Library Association. I congratulate the Library Committee of Sri Balaji Vidyapit under the dynamic leadership of Professor Ganesh and Mr. Rajan to thinking of this innovative way to celebrate the commemoration of the birth anniversary of Dr. S. Ranganathan. We all of must agree today, the 9th of August 2020, is a red letter day for SBV and Madras Library Associations. SBV feels proud to be associated with Madras Library Association, the association which has taken a leading role in India for the movement of library and library activities in India. To strengthen our facilities in our universities, to share the expertise of Madras Library Associations, we are planning to initiate several programs in future based on the memorandum of agreement signed by SBV and MALA earlier. As we have to learn a lot from Dr. S. Ranganathan, a unique personality, a complete and consummate librarian. Dr. S. Ranganathan fondly and eventually addressed as Dr. SRR. He was a prolific author, eminent academician, mathematician, and above all, a librarian par excellence, an amazing personality. To get even such personality in this century will be difficult. Dr. SRR was wedded to the library movement in India. And his passion was such for library science that even during his leisure hours, he had embarked upon many initiatives in library and in informatics. It is very gratifying to note that Dr. SRR was instrumental in initiating the first ever graduation course in library science in 1948, just 1 year after independence, in the premier Delhi University. These unique activities This unique action of Dr. SRR has laid a strong foundation for the movement of the library science throughout the country, and we are seeing the fruits of his activities initiated in the 1948. Stepping into the librarianship, he had applied for the post of university librarian in the University of Madras as early as in 1923. Unfortunately, despite his scholastic abilities, knowledge, and perfect attitude, he had to plead with the university administration for a teaching positions. Dr. SRR has extensively contributed to movement of library science in India. During his tenure, during his career, SRR had visited a large number of libraries and community reading centers and had a first-hand information on the reality of the situations of the libraries in far part of the country. He developed several nodal initiatives for all-round development of library, be it academic or public. He discovered a social mission for library profession and himself, thereby carving a unique position for himself. Dr. SRR has written a large volume of literature about librarianship and particularly on classification of the documents, and still now these documents remains the most important reference document for organizing activities in library science. I really wonder all these contributors even can be surpassed even in the present scenario, where we are thinking of artificial intelligence and digital library movement to come in a big way. I'm really happy that Dr. SRR, in recognition of immense contributions to the movement of library science in India, he was bestowed with the Padma Shri by the Government of India, the most coveted award of the Government of India in the year 1957. We are so happy to note that his birthday, which falls on 12th August, is celebrated across the country as National Librarians Day. Myself, particularly my university, SBV and MALA, takes immense pride in recollecting fondly his monumental contributions to the library movement in these occasions. I'm really happy again to be here and to share some of my thoughts and my experience, opportunity to know about Dr. SRR, the founder of library science movement in India. I'm confident the coming generations will learn a lot from his commitment, from his dedications, and his passion for library science movement in India. If all of us follow, I'm confident movement of library science will gain a strong momentum and will contribute and will be a part of academic activities in the future. Thank you. Thank you very much for your patience learning.
Thanks, sir. Professor Subhash Chandra Birthday Honorable Vice Chancellor, for giving a inaugural address, very much informative about our father of library science, Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. Thanks, sir. And I also thank Professor C.P. Ganesh Babu, Chairperson, SBV Library Committee, for giving welcome address. And now I call upon Professor Manorama Srinath, former head of the Department of Library Science, University of Madras, Chennai, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you,
Professor
Dr.
Manorama
Nityanandam.
Srinath,
Can you
please.
hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
First of
Professor
all,
Manorama.
I would like to place my respect to Professor Parthasarathi. Sir, sir, pranam, sir. And now I thank everybody for inviting me for this webinar. And first of all, Professor Vice Chancellor Subhash Chandra Parji, Ganesh Babu, Dr. Ganesh Babu, Professor Parthasarathi, Dr. Shiva Chandra Bes, Dr. Nityanandam, Dr. Venkatramani, Dr. Janardhanam, Dr. Rajan, and other participants. Very good morning for everybody. Now, I'll briefly sketch the biography of Ranganathan and then just say a few words about my own opinion. Shyali Ramamurthy Ranganathan was born on 9th August in 1892 in Udayaveda Natapuram, locally known as Palur in Tanjavur district. He was born as the eldest son of Sita Lakshmi and Ramamurtham. Ranganathan was named after his grandfather Ranganathan. At the age of 15, he was married to Rukmani. Unfortunately, in 1928, Rukmani died in drowning accident in the tank of Parthasarathi temple in Triplicate. He later remarried Sarda in 1929. They had a son whose name is Ranganathan Yogeshwar. In 1909, he passed his Dr. S.R. Ranganathan passed his matriculation exam. He finished his MA degree in mathematics in Presidency College, Madras. He finished literate in teaching college in Madras. He then worked as assistant lecturer at Government College in Bangalore. And in 1921, he joined as assistant professor in Presidency College itself. In January 4th, 1924, SRR became the first librarian of Madras University Library, which was at first located in Kanimara Library in Egmore. Later, it was shifted to Madras University campus. He was deputed to UK for getting educated and trained in a librarianship for 9 months. He believed that information content of the library need a well-informed salesperson to make it accessible to potential customers. He decided to make the library as a supermarket of information, of resources. Madras University Library, he wanted to make it as a supermarket of information resources. He started MALA in 1928, January 2nd. It was the first regional association in India. MALA's one of the ideals is to extend the services to rural area. According to SRR ideas, one Mr. Subbalingam designed a bullock cart with 2 bulls, which served as a library on wheels on Mannargudi in Tanjore district. And the summer school of librarianship started in 1930, and the certificates course was started in 1932. And he was a ferocious reader and a writer. He published number of books in library science. The 5 Laws of Library Science was published in 1931. Colon classification was published in 1933, which is a classic work of SRR. Prolegomena of library classification was published later, and he later published classified cataloging code. Apart from this, he published many books which include library management, which he wrote on the basis of scientific management principles such as job analysis and division. The book itself he wrote on the scientific management principle, namely job analysis and division of labor. His book of Philosophy of Library Classification in 1951 was published but by the Copenhagen University Library in 1951. Copenhagen University. He was responsible to execute Public Library Act for the first time in India. He visited many countries. He attended meetings in UN Committee of International Library Experts. He addressed Japanese librarians at the National Diet in 1958. He attended meetings in FID. Apart from this, he received many prestigious awards. He became Rao Sahib in 1933 under the British rule. He became Padma Shri of Independent India in 1957. In 1965, Government of India made him National Research Professor. Later, Government of India issued a postal cover and a stamp in his name. He retired as MUL librarian in 1945, March 1st. Next, he joined Benares Hindu University. His next episode was in 1947 when he joined as an honorary professor of library science in Delhi University. In 1948, he was honored with doctorate title. He started Department of Library Science in Delhi University. He donated 1 lakh rupee to establish the School of Library Science in 1957 with the help of government grants in Madras University. His last venture was that he established DRTC, Documentary Research Training Center in Bangalore. And finally, he died in 1972, September 27. All this is a short biography of SRR. Now, I wish to reveal my mind about the colon classification of SRR. It was a classic work. It has been acclaimed by the whole world of the library profession that it's the classic work. First time, he used analytico-synthetic scheme of classification, and it provides the classifier to think and analyze the subject thoroughly. He has foreseen the manifestation of various subjects in future and provided a few special devices to incorporate new subjects which have not been included in the schedule. It is extremely well designed classification scheme. One of my PhD student submitted his thesis, which explained how the characters of CC matches with the characters of the latest subject, information architecture. Not only that, he has proved that websites of internet can be fitted in the PMST of CC with apt examples, with the exact examples. But unfortunately, many schools of library science have removed the CC from their syllabus because they think that it is not useful in digital information retrieval system, which is very sad. And I felt it has to be, Ranganathan has to be honored by introducing this CC in all the syllabuses. And it is a very important work. It's a very significant work in library field. So it has to be included in the syllabus. But anyway, it is not in our hands. So I request MALA to conduct some training courses of CC so that such classic work does not disappear from the professional minds. Thank you very much. That's all. Can't hear.
It is not audible?
No, it's not audible.
It's not audible.
Yes.
So, please check at your end. Please check at your end. Hello? Mic testing? Hello, mic testing? Janardhanan? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Is it not audible?
சார் சொல்லுங்க சார்.
Hello? கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது?
நீங்க பேசுறது கேக்குது, அவர் பேசுறது கேட்கல.
No, that is the reason why we invited Professor Panorama Srinath, who worked both in Central Library and as well as in Department of Library Science. She is the right person to deliver a talk on Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. In that way, she explained all the aspects and all the contributions of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan during his tenure. She explained right from beginning till end. And she also recommended pollen classification to include in the syllabus in the future. Yes, madam. We have a plan of introducing. MALA is having to introduce CLIS course in the beginning, joining with Bharatidasan University. So we have sent the proposal. I hope we can achieve it, and we will run the program, certificate course in library and information science, where we will definitely introduce pollen classification in the syllabus. Yes, because when I was a research scholar in Madras University, Professor Manorama Srinath only gave me opportunity to handle the class for the corresponding course students. At that time, I was asked to take the pollen classification only. In that way, I just the classification, main scheme of classification, within my fingertips, I just by heart say A generally, A B maths, C physics, D engineering, D chemistry, F technology, G biology, H geology, like that. Even now, I can say up to Z. Okay, sir, madam. Just I am telling. Now I invite Professor S. Parthasarathi. He is a Jambavan and Pita Magan. Really, we can say he worked. He has many faces. He started his life there in Instock, Chennai, Indian National Scientific Documentation Center, Taramani. In fact, Professor Manorama helped me to prepare a biography of Professor Parthasarathi right from his boyhood till his end. We have a DVD about him. Yes, sir. So, and finally he worked there in Instock, Delhi also. Now, with a small introduction, I invite Professor Parthasarathi to deliver his special address. Professor Parthasarathi, please.
நீங்க பேசுங்க நீங்க பேசுங்க
Unmute பண்ணுங்க அவருக்கு. Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Professor Nityanandan and Professor Manorama for inviting me to attend a 128th birth anniversary after Dr. Ranganathan, which falls on 12th August 2020. It's also a National Librarians Day, which is organized by library professions throughout India in remembrance of National Professor S.R. Ranganathan's contributions to library science. Because we are all trained librarians, and you know all about his activities and other things. As it had happened in his life. You also know his contributions to library science and other things. But I wanted to say something about this contribution to improving the status of Indian librarians. This is done on various occasions in an ad hoc manner. I wanted to lift them up and show the impact of his contribution to our library. And I want to say some things which are, outside the trying to give a context to each one of the things. Dr. Ranganathan was by profession, he was a professor of mathematics in the Madras education service. After passing his MA and LT license, he joined the Madras Education Service. At that time, the education service, the education department was all fully manned by Europeans. Little Hales was in charge of that particular department. And Ranganathan was this post, you could be posted to any government colleges in Madras Presidency, and the postings were done by the department. And Ranganathan was posted in different places, and one place was the Mangalore College, where he was.
ஹலோ
சார் சொல்லுங்க சார்.
என்னாச்சு, அவர் பேசிட்டாரா?
அது மைக் ஏதோ மியூட் ஆயிடுச்சு, நடுவில் ஏதோ கனெக்ஷன் லாஸ்ட்டு.
அப்படியா, ப்ராப்ளமா? டெக்னிக்கல் இஷ்யூ.
அதான் சசிரேகா ஃபோன் பண்ணேன், அவங்க எடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க.
சரி சரி. அப்போனா நான் ஃபெலிசிட்டேஷன் அட்ரஸ் நான் சொல்லட்டுமா? ஷால் ஐ ஸ்டார்ட்? இல்லை வெயிட் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். இல்லை அங்கே ஏதோ ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு.
இவங்க சிவபச்சன் சார் இருக்கார் சார்.
வராரு, அவர் வராரு மறுபடியும் வராரு. பேசுகிறேன் சார். ப்ளீஸ் ப்ரொசீட் சார்.
Little Hales knew the worth of Dr. Ranganathan as a very good teacher. He had a good name and other things. And he wanted to help him. He said that Madras University was under the department at that time. He said, we are creating a post of a university librarian at a higher grade than what we are. Why not you apply for the post? Ranganathan refused to know. He said, I am interested only in teaching and not in library. He didn't apply. But one of his colleagues, Natesh Iyer, put in an application on behalf of recommending a name of Ranganathan, an application. And he was called for Ranganathan was called for an interview on the basis of Natesh's thing. And didn't like it, but anyhow, he said, go to the interview and come back and then. Ranganathan always used to prepare for doing anything in terms of much. He had no idea about the library profession or library work, etc. Therefore, he read the entire material published in the Encyclopedia Britannica, read all the things. And when they put questions, etc., in the interview, he was able to answer them and do the performance. And he was selected for the library profession on the basis of the Madras University selected him. Even then he said, no, I will not go for the thing. He again later help persuaded him, you please go. In the appointment of the thing, there is also one for foreign training. You go to and get the benefit of the foreign training and come back. If you are not interested, you need not. Said yes, he was sent for foreign training in terms of this to England, the UK for his training. Madras University, down there, Madras University. And then he was sent to the British Museum for training. And he went and said, I want to get a library training. The museum there, we have no training program. We are only a museum where we not on Then they said, you go to the London University. Therefore, his scholarship was transferred to the London University. He joined the London University. Sayers was at that time the head of the, he was a man on theory of classification, etc. And then he was also the chief librarian of the Cardiff Public Library. First, to get a feeling of the library, he asked him to go and see the library and visited the public library system. He was so impressed with the impact of the public library service on the development and the social progress of the society. Therefore, he visited all the public library systems in the beginning to know the impact of the what types of services, how it's an impact, how it helps the people how to read it, he made them do. And then all the daily progress of the thing. Therefore, he first the importance was in terms of that one. And then he later studied in the library science and cleared the thing and got fellowship of the library association also. London University, he came over to India. At that time, Madras University Library is a very small collection. It was located, though you had librarians earlier, etc. It was located in the Kanimala Public Library in one. And then he went to the public library, and then he was asked to join the thing after returning Tampa. And then he went to the public library, etc. in terms of things. But at that time, he was a officer in the sense of the library. Therefore, government to an officer is a very big person. And most of them were earlier Europeans and other things. Therefore, an officer was barred from seeing the public. People were not allowed to see. He was almost confined in a room and then going there, couldn't meet the thing, go out or and other things. After a couple of weeks, he got fed up with this one and came back to the thing and said, I want to resign from. I want to go back to the teacher. This has nothing to do. But later, anyway, he said he continue for some time and then let us see in terms of it. I'll keep a post for you always in thing. Whenever you want to come back later, you can join that in terms. Then as soon as he came and saw the impact and studied the thing in terms of it, he was asked to also organize the Madras Library appropriately. He gave his bylaws of library science lecture at the Anomaly University. That was a classic work he had done on terms of library in the bylaws. Library books are for you. And every reader his book, every book is reader, library, they continue organize this. then save the time of the reader and all that, which formed a basic thing for organizing any organization, not merely a library. Any other actually, the impact of that bylaws, etc., is not only for the library, but it has been afterward, they have seen it become so popular, so things in terms of library science itself, it's used in architecture, even in computer science, in your reference service, in your search techniques, etc., all these things in terms. That's what he gave first that lecture in terms of that one, and then it was very famous at that time. While London itself, he was working at the various schemes of classification, since he had to do the library classification, catalog, etc. He studied the existing systems and tried to see how it can be, all of them can be improved upon in terms. We saw a mechano system where it's not a continuous listing of the schedules, but later on linking of the schedules, so that it was a classification where identify subjects and their properties and connect those properties in a thing, and that will be the present the subject, indicating the relationship, which is different from narrating the thing, finding out from a list and then putting that one in. Therefore, he developed a flexible scheme of classification, which is equivalent classification, self-sustaining, continuous, for which he became very famous even in computer applications. This approach is even now considered as important in terms. Similarly, when he organized the Madras Library Association, planned, etc., he introduced all the features of a public library system in a university library. University libraries in those times, both in America, abroad, in UK, and others, were big libraries. All of them were closed libraries. Catalog was the only tool for searching and identifying whether a book is inside or not. You have to go and sit down, search the catalog, see whether what you want is there in the catalog, make a list, and then give it a list to the thing. And then the storage of the books were all in congested manner. It was difficult to do. It would take half an hour to 1 hour to get a book from because of that nature in them. But the public libraries were open libraries, open access libraries. Therefore, when he started the Madras Public Library, he introduced the open access library in the Madras University Library. It's a unique. Even in India, they were all following the foreign ones, closed libraries and other things. Giving a slip catalog was the main thing, cataloging and getting and all that type of thing. Therefore, he introduced the open access library. The planning of the thing was such, it was like an open access library. And then the spaces were all given for people's movement, study. And then he introduced reference service, which was a reader assistant service there. And then also lending books, etc. He encouraged more people to come from the college students who were studying in the graduate courses to become members and use the library. Also introduced a home lending one in order to send packages to people in various places who were all the members of the university style thing in terms of this. So he tried to spread the access to books in an enormous manner. And the University of Madras planned in such a manner the introducing of the reference service, appointing number of teachers, etc. And they were all trained by him in the use of it. They all grew, they were all graduates who grew in the development of the techniques. Along with that, he formed a team and then have a very weekly meeting got their views, and they were all recorded in the minutes book, etc. You will see how well he developed the steps to be taken for organizing the library and how to improve the quality of service at each point in town. Then he used to use third leg in terms of it. That is, every work becomes routine and unmonotonous. How to give alternate jobs in order to see that you are interested in continuing the next one, the same interest. His management book, Administration, is excellent book for management. With most modern ideas in management, which was not even in the management literature at that time. Where he had developed management in terms of, so excellent in terms of everything. Therefore, you will find that the organization of library had produced, and then the library profession also, how he joined, I will tell you in terms of it. After the Annamalai University lecture, which he gave us 5 laws of library science, you knew the professors there and all the things admired him in terms of it. One of the professors were organizing an Asian Education Conference in India, where all the Southeast Asian countries participated, sent their people, and then contributed papers on librarians at that time. And then he also contributed a paper. That was the first time where he prepared a public library act for that one in town. He said because public library, he saw the value of the public library system. Therefore, he said India should have a public library act. Therefore, he sent a paper for that one. And then that is one. Then how Madras Library Association was started, where he has been participating in something. Every year, the Indian National Congress, the political party which was there, used to have its conferences in various places, etc. in the country. Along with their own meetings, they used to provide a forum for other social science bodies to hold their meetings. One of the meetings that used to be held was a public library association used to meet and have a conference, and also have a public library association in terms of Andhra University. Andhra had a public library in Hyderabad, etc. And then all of them had branches, and they were providing river services, boat services, and all that type of thing. They used to hold one in 1927, Madras had the Labour Congress session in Madras. At that one also, the Andhra group had come and then presented papers, etc. At that time, Madras had no library association or something. Therefore, those people insisted that Madras should have an association for library science. At that time, one of the prominent people, but Ranganathan was not interested. They went to ask Ranganathan. He said, I'm building the Madras University Library. I have no time for any of the other things. Therefore, he was busy. Therefore, he would not take any in the preliminary portion of the Madras. Krishna Swami here was a famous advocate. They approached him. He had a lot of power. He was in many social associations, etc. He also said first no, later on said all right. They persisted in going to him and said we should have one. And then he started the Madras Library. Since he was a lawyer and a famous lawyer in the Madras bar, we were able to bring in quite a large of lawyers as members of the association. So that the first time and all the famous important academic people who were in Madras were able to make them join. The Madras Library Association, formed in 1957, had hardly any librarian, one or two. One was the Madras Kanimara Public Library librarian, and maybe another one, Krishnamurti, who was in the Serpent of India Society library. All the others, they had about 300 members, all the famous literary, educational, political people were members. Therefore, it was a powerful body, consisted of all elites of Madras in terms of things. Therefore, they used to hold an annual meeting at the time of the, we had used to have a public, say in Madras we have a park where they used to hold it was a zoo also and had a park for the people. And there we used to have a annual exhibition. In that exhibition, the Madras Library Association used to participate and tell what they are doing, what they were doing, and all that type. Many people were there, and then one of the things was they were also, along with the Tanjore people, doing a mobile library sciences using a bullock cart and other one. They were all exhibited at the exhibition in Tamil. And the association was not merely interested in just exhibiting, and then also doing annual lecture, say weekly lectures in various, lengthened lectures in various villages and other things, and showing them about the health and other things, how to prevent it. And they were also interested and found that there are no local publications for giving it to the readers. Therefore, they wanted to in the local languages, and therefore, in the languages, they organized a Tamil conference for the attracting writers for the public. Saying these were all things which were done in Tamil. And then they also brought out a library book on, say, the various aspects of library movement in India. It consists of excellent things by Rabindranath Tagore, articles by Rabindranath Tagore, and many learned people, etc. And quite a number of them were Indian languages, which were produced in terms of the excellent book on library thing, and published by the Library Association in terms of the Library Association also. Krishna Swami here used to ask him to become a member, and then he said again it's very difficult, therefore they appointed two others. He was done as a third secretary in terms of the thing, not the main one, mobile active one, as a third secretary of the Madras Library Association. But he was interested in the development of library science and other things, therefore every year he used to publish a book in terms of in the Madras Library. At their annual conference, he would produce a book in terms. Therefore, the first book he produced was the 5 Laws of Library Science, and then he did the colon classification. Next, he did the administration. Every year he used to publish, which are all substantial contributions by Dr. Ranganathan for providing a content for developing library science in India. Similarly, the cataloging, library reading, and also classified catalog code, dictionary catalog code, and all that. And also in the thing, used to hold an annual seminar where papers were published. He did a memoirs of Madras Library Association, which brought out excellent articles from
Sir, audio what sir? Sir, audio check பண்ணுங்க.
Therefore, he started this publishing and give it to them for their own development, etc. No royalty, he made the association take them. He had the royalty, but allowed the association to publish and get the profit, etc. He said a series of publications, reference service, 1945 gauges up to the Madras Library Association. Also, reference service and bibliography, which gave a list of reference sources done by Shivaraman. The reference service was done by Ranganathan and Sundaram. They did the excellent work. And the reference service was actually introduction or preface was written by Maurice Doyer, who was the chief judge, federal judge of the Indian federal court in terms of that. He was highly impressed with the work done by Dr. Ranganathan and used to praise him. He had the highest regard for this work when he saw this book and other. Therefore, he invited him, and that time he was the first vice chancellor of the Delhi University, in addition to being the Supreme Court. He was the vice chancellor of the Delhi University. They were reorganizing the library. He requested Dr. Ranganathan to give a plan for the reorganization of the Delhi library. He went and saw it, and then he said people should be trained highly in terms of it. Therefore, he asked them to send their people for training to Madras in terms of it. They selected a professor as a librarian from Dasgupta, from the university library, and then sent him for training to Chennai in the Madras University. And he was undergoing the certificate, a postgraduate diploma in librarianship, and went back and organized it. And then few more people were there, and then they were developing it. I was a student of Dr. Ranganathan from the beginning. He made me join the Hindu High School as a librarian. That's my first one. After working there for a couple of years, I went over to another in Karchi, in Pune, which was a scientific research library. And from there, I was offered by the Delhi University Library a position in the library. And then I went and joined the library in 1946 in Tamil. Similarly, I recommended one of my colleagues, Garde, and he also had joined, and then also sent one from the Madras University to strengthen the core of the university library, professional core and other things. And then he retired in 1945, took a voluntary retirement, and then he was invited to go to Banaras Hindu University by Professor Radhakrishnan, and went over to Professor Radhakrishnan, went and joined the thing and reorganized the whole thing. Already we had one Subramaniam and Vishwanathan there. Vishwanathan was trained in the Andhra University, was there in Tamil. And then after 1 year, he joined, he was invited to come back to the Delhi University as an honorary professor and run the department of library. And then he developed the department. First, he gave the Madras Library courses in the beginning, and within a few months, he changed it into Bachelor of Library Science, and then introduced the Master of Library Science, so that you have a professional qualification venue for all the library people in terms of it. He was the first to do the Delhi University, was the first university in the Commonwealth to introduce a course in library science as a Master of Library Science. I am going to link this up in terms of it later in terms of the profession when it comes to it. Therefore, you introduce this one in terms of it. And also, within a year, he introduced the PhD in the thing. We had the first PhD from the Delhi University in library science. one Krishna Rao, who became later on the head of the Madras University Department of Library Science. He was appointed as. But Roy was earlier in the Agricultural University and the ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture. He did work on agriculture and then agricultural classification, and he got his degree and joined the Madras University as the first director of the. We had a Sardar Ranganathan fellowship, say headship for the department. He was first Sardar Ranganathan Professor of Library Science in the university. All the others were Sardar Ranganathan Professor of. The department itself was created there. Before that, the courts were run by he started the court first in the certificate court. Ranganathan started a certificate earlier in the Madras Library Association, then took it over in the next year, ran it from the library in the university, and then started a postgraduate department for library science, then a diploma course in library science. And it was during war years, and then I joined it in 1940. I think at that time on that day, and about 8 people from Pune and other places joined that as my colleagues, etc. in terms of it. And it was an excellent training under him. Was superb the way he taught us, the way he motivated us. Used to work almost all 24 hours. Used to come in the morning, used to walk with him in the morning thing, and then till late in the evening used to work in the day. Therefore, we learned a lot from him, not merely reading, many other things we learned from him in terms of reading. He was such an excellent teacher, motivator, and also a hard worker in terms of it. Then he started this one, and then everything. And he also later on became he was also involved in the starting of the Madras, Indian Library Association, started by Asadullah. At that time, we are still under British one in 1932. It was called Imperial Library, which became later National Library. Asadullah was the chairman. Ranganathan was involved in the development. He requested him to come join. He said, I won't attend, but I will support you. And then, because he said he was developing the Madras University Library, all his time was spent here. He had that. Therefore, he was a member of the Madras Library Association in 1932, in terms of 32 it was started. Of course, we had a library association, library school very much earlier in Punjab. In 1912, we had one in Punjab University started in that called one Dickinson from America, who came and they gave, who was a trained professional librarian in America, working in a professional library. He was invited to develop the Punjab. He did it very well. 1 year he was there in terms of it, and then he developed it very well. Quite a large number of the institutions in Punjab sent their librarian for training in terms of it. Therefore, one of the earlier people where we had some good training people were all in terms of from Punjab, in terms of in good position, cleaned up institutions, paid also where we're all from the thing. And then later on, he left before going. The Baroda Maharaja had also started the library movement there, started number of public libraries. He had also called one person from America to develop this one. And Dickens also went before leaving for America. He was there for a short time to develop the thing further. And then he also produced a library manual at that time, which was used by all the librarians who wanted to develop that system on a modern lines on that time, decimal classification, say a dictionary catalog and all the other things. even in he had done in the library curtain. Punjab was moving. Punjab also formed a library association around that time. Therefore, they were one of the premier one in order to enter the library profession in terms of one. And they were also running a journal from the association. It was called Modern Librarian. Shantaram Bhatia was a well-known senior librarian there, was running it. And after the partition, the Punjab Library Association moved to India, Delhi, and then they were still continuing the modern library in sometimes. Shantaram Bhatia and others had come over from Pakistan because they were all in Lahore. Lahore was separated.
The mic is put on air.
ஹலோ, அன்மியூட் பண்ணிக்குது பாருங்க, மியூட் பண்ணுங்க. ப்ரொஃபசர் பார்சாதி இது மியூட் பண்ணுங்க, மியூட் பண்ணுங்க. மியூட் பண்ணது அது அன்மியூட் பண்ணாதான் பேச முடியும்.
மேல பண்ண முடியாது
சார். சார், கன்க்ளூட் பண்ண சொல்லுங்க.
Also brought out some publications in library at that time, and it was just the war was over and in the partition time in terms of it. They were bringing out throughout India and other places. All right. I'm not able to link now my lecture is not okay. I just begun only.
Start
the place. Then on.
Thanks,
send me a copy of this
okay.
to my thing. Let me see. I will develop it further.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll continue my thing and link up and show how Dr. Ranganathan's contribution to the status of the thing is given in the second lecture, in the continuing lecture. I'll stop here. My time is over. I stop here. I'll continue it in the next day. So I will bring out some of the other factors which are there and then show you how he has contributed to the, which is not linked and properly understood by people, not understood, realized by people in the profession, still not realized by him. I want to bring that one to see that professional people realize its contribution, librarians realize its contribution to the status of the library. In the next slide.
No, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Professor Parthasarathi, for giving a very elaborate lecture about Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. You were the student of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan and you also worked with him. It's a great pleasure for us to invite you. In the future, we will invite you for the second part where you can complete your speech about Ranganathan. Now, I invite Dr. Sivachidambaram, librarian, National Institute of Technology, Tirchi, to deliver the special address. Dr. Sivachidambaram, please. Please unmute your mic. Mute போட்டுக்குது. சார், அதை அன்மியூட் பண்ணிட்டு பேசணும்.
மைக் அன்மியூட் பண்ணுங்க.
Now okay. Please proceed. Sir, please proceed. It's not audible. Your speech is not audible. Your audio is not audible. Video is okay. Audio is not audible. Please check at your end. Sir, it's not audible. Your speech is not audible. ஜனார்தனன் அவருக்கு என்ன சொல்லுங்க, ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்க, கைட் பண்ணுங்க.
சார் இப்போ பேசுங்க சார். ஒன்று வரல, ஆடியோ வரல சார். நாட் ஆடிபிள். வேணா அந்த ஹெட்ஃபோன் வேணா எடுத்துட்டு பேசுங்க சார். ஹெட்ஃபோன் வேணா.
ஆமா, இதுல மொபைல் போன்ல பேசுங்க. மொபைல் போன்ல பேசுங்க சார். மொபைல் போன், யூஸ் யுவர் மொபைல் போன் as an alternate measure. Or you try with your laptop or your mobile phone. It's not at all audible. Video is okay. Video is okay. Audio is not at all there. ஆடியோவை ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க சார். உங்க சிஸ்டத்துல ஆடியோவை ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. ஜனார்தனன்
சார் ஒரு வாட்டி டிஸ்கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு உள்ள சொல்லுங்க சார். உள்ள
ஆமா
சார். சிவா சார் ஒரு வாட்டி டிஸ்கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு உள்ள ரீஎன்டர் ஆகிங்க.
ரீஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி பாருங்க. ரீஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி பாருங்க. ஹலோ ப்ளீஸ் ட்ரை ரீஸ்டார்டிங் தி சிஸ்டம். ட்ரையல் பார்த்தாருல நேத்து ஈவினிங் ட்ரையல் பார்த்தீங்கல்ல சார்?
வரல
ராஜன் ட்ரையல் பார்க்கலையா? ட்ரையல் அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணலையா ஒரு 15 minutes earlier? Professor Manoj?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, now he finds difficult. He is not, the video is there, but the audio is not audible. That Dr. Shiva Chidambaram, librarian, National Institute of Technology, he is in the studio, but he is unable to talk. His voice is not clear. So, shall we proceed to felicitation address? Then, once he set right things, then let him talk.
Okay.
What is? Okay, madam.
Okay. Are you asking me?
Yes, madam. I'm just asking your suggestion.
Proceed, sir. As you wish.
Okay. Let me proceed with the felicitation address. Now, everything was talked by Professor Manorama Srinath and Professor Parthasarathi about Dr. S.R. Ranganathan elaborately. And as far as my little knowledge is concerned, I can say about Ranganathan, he is considered to be the father of library and information science in India and abroad. He was born on 12th August 1892. He studied MA Mathematics and worked as professor of Maths in Presidency College. Then he was appointed as first librarian of Madras University. He served as librarian in Madras University for 20 years. He traveled to London School of Librarianship and toured over 100 libraries in the United Kingdom. In England, he observed that the Dewey Decimal Classification as the most popular system in use. In his mind, DV decimal classification was neither prepared nor adequate to provide for future situations. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan introduced colon classification during 1933. He started Library Science School in Madras University in 1929. He taught both DV decimal classification and as well as colon classification. He wrote more than 2000 research papers over his lifetime. He designed 5 laws of library science. We still remember those 5 laws of library science even now. First law says books are for use. Second law says every reader his or her book. Third law says every book its reader. Fourth law says save the time of the reader. Fifth law says library is a growing organism. He wrote the Madras Public Library Act was designed by him. It was his contribution during 1948. His popular books are 5 Laws of Library Science, Library Manual, and Library Administration, colon classification, classified code, etc. See, library is the heart of library is the temple of knowledge. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan was awarded Padma Shri Award by for his contribution in the field of library science by Government of India. So with this, I conclude my speech. I now invite Dr. Siva Chidambaram, librarian, National Institute of Technology, to deliver special address. Sir, Professor Siva Chidambaram, please. Is it okay now? Hello, is it audible? No, Janardhanan. Janardhanan.
சார் ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார். சார் அவரு நீங்க பேசிட்டு இருங்க சார், கண்டிப்பா பண்ணுங்க. அவரு சார் அட்வைஸ் கொடுத்துருங்க.
இல்ல அவர் செப்பரேட் பண்ணிட்டாரா?
பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க சார், நீங்க பேசிட்டு இருங்க. உங்க வந்து கண்டிப்பா பண்ணிட்டு.
ஓகே.
சார் இப்ப ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க.
Our Professor Manorama Srinath mentioned colon classification is the classic one, really, based on the 5 facets of scheme of classification. Say personality facet, matter facet, energy facet, space facet, and time facet. And he is very famous for his connecting symbols like comma, semicolon, dot, like that. Comma for personality, semicolon for matter, and for space it is dot, and to connect the time factors we have to use inverted comma, like that. So such symbols he created for the faceted scheme of classification and analytico-synthetic classification, in fact. So such a great colon classification he has produced after referring DV decimal classification. Really, it's a classic work. There is no doubt at all. Even now, we still remember the way in which we classify a book according to colon classification. We see in all main subject headings, say, as he mentioned, A general, A, B mathematics, C for physics, D for engineering, E chemistry, F technology, G biology, H geology, I botany, J agriculture, K zoology, L for medicine, M for visual arts, N for fine arts, O for literature, P linguistics, Q religion, R for philosophy, S for psychology, T for education, U geography, V history, W political science, X economics, Y sociology, Z stands for law. So such a great universe of subjects was classified in such a way using the alphabeticals from A to Z. And for each and every alphabet he gives a PMEST formula, but whereas for O it is a different one. Say there is no PMEST there. Only personality he gives. Personality first, personality second, personality third, personality, like that he is producing. And O for literature, and then the language to be clubbed together in the beginning, and then the literature divisions. 1 stands for poetry, 2 for drama, 3 for fiction, 4 for letters, 5 for oratory, like that. Like that, we have to connect the subjects and frame the classification number as per the formula for literature. It is a very fantastic one. We have to appreciate his thinking. As a mathematician, he classified and he designed the column classification schedule. It is rememberable even now. And most of the public libraries are following column classification. As Professor Manorama said, it was left in other universities due to various reasons. There is an information retrieval problem she mentioned. As she recommended, we intend to include in our CLI syllabus the great column classification. Sir, Professor Sivasidambaram, is it okay? Have you said it right? Now, can you start your speech? Sir? Hello? The PowerPoint is there, but it is not audible from your side. Janardhanan? Janardhanan? Hello? Sir, Dr. Sivasidambaram? Hello? Janardhanan? Janardhanan? என்ன இன்னும் செப்பரேட் பண்ணலையா? செப்பரேட் பண்ணலையா? அவருக்கு ஆடிபிள் இல்லையே. அவருக்கு ஸ்பீச் ட்ரையல் கூப்பிட்டுருக்கலாம்ல. நேற்றே ட்ரையல் கூப்பிட்டுருக்கலாம், மார்னிங் ட்ரையல் கூப்பிட்டுருக்கலாம். ஏங்க முதல்ல ட்ரையல் பார்த்துருக்கலாம்ல. He is trying to speak, but it is not audible from our
audio வரல சார்.
Audio is not there. Audio வரல. நீங்க ட்ரையல் அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணாம விட்டுருக்கீங்களே. டாக்டர் ராஜன் இஸ் த ஆர்கனைசிங் செக்ரட்டரி. ராஜன் இருக்காரா?
ராஜன் இருக்கார் சார்.
எங்க அவர் அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணிருக்கணும்ல. ஹலோ ஹலோ சார் ஆடிபிள் சார். ப்ளீஸ் ப்ரொசீட். Sir, please proceed, sir. Proceed. Try. It's not audible. Enna Rajan? No, you should have arranged for the trial session. Yesterday itself or today morning. It's a live show. Sir, please make an alternative. சொல்லுங்க அவருக்கு. Make an alternative using his mobile phone. He can deliver the talk. Please use your mobile phones. அங்க அவங்க சண்டை யாரோ பேசுறாங்க கேக்குது. ஹலோ சார், ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் ஒன்று எடுத்து சொல்லுங்க சார். சிஸ்டத்தை விட்டுட்டு நீங்க மொபைல் போன்லயே பேசுங்க சார். மொபைல் போன்லயே பேசுங்க வந்துடும். இப்ப லேப்டாப்ல யூஸ் பண்றீங்களா என்ன? It's now audible, sir. Please proceed.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to everybody. Really, I am very sorry for the technical slap actually, and I am very thankful to the organizer, SBV and the MALA, respected director SBV, and very senior professionals, Professor Srinath, and then Professor Pathasarathi, living legend of library science. I am very thankful to Professor Nityanandam and Rajan for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts in the auspicious occasion of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan's 128th birthday. and he was asking me to give the lecture on online journals in medical science. I had prepared in my home all these PPTs, and then I am sharing the title, the journal access model of biomedical sciences in electronic environment during during pandemic period in electronic world. The journals actually journals are a vehicle of research, and it is a premier tool to disseminate the scientific information. And earlier it was subscribed by print model. It only access through print. Then it has went to the online plus print model. Then now it is in the online model. Now there is a latest development when for open access of the journals. Open access model means other pays and the access is free. And then there are now repository development. That repository will disseminate the scientific information from the institute or from the organization or from the government ministerial department like that. This is the basic my talk, how evolutionary development happen in the electronic environment. I see that in this, if you go there and then if you go the print subscription, online subscription, and combined print and online paper preview of this open access journals, which I was telling. Then we were telling about open repositories, government central, institutional repositories, and now of course we are in the pandemic era where we can go for remote access. Library develops its remote access for providing the access to the users with authorized way. And if you see the development of journals, access and journal publications, 1950, all over the world, journals were established, and 64, the Eugene Garfield was finding journal rankings and the impact factors matrix introduced by the Science Citation Index. Then the print publication was predominant in more than 30 years from, and after that in 1996 digital age has come, there where the biomet central explores and the libraries are no longer purchasing the tangible objects means journals, and as a result preservation and traditionality has come up. And now library follows the big deal model for bundling the journals subscription for the researchers, and then institutional repository developed, and then the ranking developed nowadays, ranking based on the academic integrity and all these things, plus the open access journals for the scholarly communication. These are all the highlights of the development. And of course, particularly in the medical science, if you go for the medical knowledge, the medical mesh thesaurus has near about 8,700, 87,000, near about 9 lakhs concepts, and concept terms around 3 million now. There are diagnoses more than 1,300 diseases, and then 3,200 drugs and formalities. Suppose one doctor has to study about disease, he has to take for 1 disease per day, and he has to come for the 30 years to get full-fledged knowledge of symptoms and the signs of each and every abnormality. So this is what the growth of knowledge in the medical knowledge. So now this, if you see that how it is disseminated scholarly, the biomedical article published 5,000 per day, and then Medline is indexing 2,000 per day, and there are clinical trials which are developed, and there this comes around 7,750 per day trials actually, and then sorry, just a minute. And when how important for the scholarly communication when the COVID spread in the pandemic situation, immediately the National Library of Medicine, they found that COVID-19, that is COVID-19 open research database data sets, which are published actually by the Allen Institute semanticscholar.org website, and this has a complete scholarly literature about COVID, SARS-CoV-2 and the coronavirus groups. When I was doing simple search about the India and the coronavirus, I got that article which was published in the March itself. What are the preventive mechanism and how it has taken care? This was the scientific decision. Really, it happens through the journals actually. And then, what are the benefits really because of the online journal access? It has more connection, means more information you can access. Vast and dynamic information exchange is happening through the online, and it can be used throughout the life. Once the doctor download any up-to-date data, up-to-date systematic review article, it can be used for the whole lifetime in any digital devices actually. And it can be saved and co-create for their learning. It means it is like a PDF file which can be highlighted and which can be given the note. All the facilities are there in the nowadays in the printed article, PDF article, and increase the variety of access. Of course, PDF or ePDF or the HTML format, it can be used, reused the images, giving proper copyright and citation, etc. And moreover, it is no cost and low cost options also available in the developing countries through WHO and KINAI's network, etc. And what are the real challenges which are faced by the librarian as well as the doctors, of course, users? It is now so much and out there, and how one can choose the particular article, and how do I connect with the particular peer group of people? How do I know that information is reliable? That authority in the volatilely fluid nature of scholarly communications is a bit difficult for unknown professional to give the right information. Hence, the librarian has to update their knowledge about the scholarly literature, and it can be given in right time at the right people. It takes so much efforts to do all these things in the online environment. And how can this fit into my formal education for the medical librarian as well as the users, of course, the doctors? These are all the benefits and the challenges for the online access journals. And earlier I was telling that when the medical literature started, there is a database called Medline, which is developed by the National Library of Medicine. It's a bibliographical database. 1946 onwards, it has been updated properly, and it has created the controlled vocabulary called medical subject headings MES. That is a vocabulary control device, And then this the bibliographical information is published in the printed as well as in the CD-ROM format earlier. And now it has been come as a free repository called PubMed. That PubMed database is a free database, and it is provided by the National Centers of Biotechnological Information at the NLM, and then advantage is it ahead of print citation has been given, and pre-1996 citation also included, and citation to other manuscripts of articles written by any funded research also included in these databases. And what is exactly the evolutionary growth of abstracting indexing services to the repository services? There is earlier it was a Medline database, and now in the internet world it has been renamed as a PubMed, and it is free. Earlier Medline was subscribed, and then PubMed is free. And then now the PubMed Central, it has more than 20,000 journals with a full text database. It is free. One can access the entire data set actually. Then just a minute, please. And then PubMed Center, it has a full text database, and then everybody can access. It is free. They can download entire PDF files, and they can access without any cost. And if you go for the any journals, like the famous journal called the New England Journal of Medicine, which they developed as a group of activities like NEJM Knowledge Center and NEJM journal access. These are all like current awareness services of the latest articles, which can be accessed by the doctors immediately during the peer review also. And then there is a Biomed Central. That journal is open access mode, and it has been charged by the author, and there is no access fee for the users. This central has now more than 1,000 journals, which is published by Nature and Springer Group, and it has a more citation than the traditional journals. And there is a PLAS group. PLAS is a completely open access journal, Public Library of Oversight Publishing System. The main reason is to facilitate the complete open access, so anyone can get the paper without having pay for it. And it also published, there is a PLAS Medicine, PLAS Biology, PLAS Genetics. These are all the free journals one can access freely. It is a highly impact and highly peer-reviewed journals, so in the medical field. And say for example, in my life of medical librarian, when I joined into B.B. Dixit Library at AIMS, there was near about 700 journals which has been subscribed, different mode of subscription. After the transition, we had completely transferred to the online, and the total within that budget, we had increased 800 journals instead of 500 something. 800 journals has been given, and when we are converting to the online, then we ensure that how the access mode can be given for the doctors. So that what we developed is there is a single point search actually. that is developed by web scale discovery service. It cover only subscribed journal of BV Dixit library, and it has been given as a total package of entire journals collections. When the people access, then it will access. It has only access journals with the bibliographic details and what is called the full text access of the PDF files will be accessed. And this access also can be accessed from the out of campus through remote access facilities. This is highly authorized and controlled by the librarian, and they can access the proper journals. This remote access facility is a very important tool during this pandemic period. All the even now in that NIT Trichy library, we had implemented this remote access. All the faculty members and research scholars, they can access their journals from their home. These are all the online journals activities now. This is a single point set, web-based access. It is having entire collection of Dr. B.B. Dixit library, and the one can access the only available journals and get the articles combinedly. And it can be uploaded in the end note also. Uploaded in the end note, there is a reference management software which can be embedded with the Microsoft software, Microbat. They can write the paper along with their information. This is a provisions of remote access facility which has been given to the senior residents, junior residents, professors, and all, and then how far they access in our library. In our library in the neighborhood. And this is statistics, of course, showing the remote access facilities. And finally, I was telling that there is a subject repository which started as a PubMed, and now we are creating institutional repository for our own institute library, which has all the electronic thesis and presentation, and plus our faculty members' publications. So it can be also accessed in the same way by the PubMed, which has been created in the open source software DSpace. And finally, the auspicious accession of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, how the BV Dixit library services has updated their the seminal files with the prioritization of reordering the OCLC's view for the files. They save the time of the reader, which can be embedded library system and services into the user's existing workflows. And then every person has their books. That is know your community and its needs. This one. And then first law that every books are for use we have been used in the collection development. And of course, the library is a growing organization. Nowadays, e-resources and repositories, institutional and repositories also growing organization in the modern librarian concepts. Thank you very much. These slides are collected from different authors in the internet. I must acknowledge all the authors for giving the permission to present this compilation. Thank you, sir. Hello. Hello.
Once again, sir. Okay, really, it's an interesting and in the beginning we had some few problems and it was overcome, and then you started your speech. Thank you for accepting our offer and accept our invitation. We once again thank you, sir, for giving a lecture
Thank you very much.
during this pandemic period.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Yes.
Given me the opportunity to deliver my experience. It is really honor for me. Professor Pankaj is elected. After that, given me the opportunity to deliver. I'm really thankful to Mala given the opportunity.
Now I invite Dr. Rajan, University Librarian of SBV University, to deliver vote of thanks. Dr. Rajan, please. Dr. Rajan. Janardhanan, Rajan is there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is available, but Sir Rajan sir,
Jayant, thank you, Mr. Jayant. Thank you for helping your daddy. Thank you, Jayant. Dr. Rajan. I thank Mr. Prasanna. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your help, for your cooperation. Rajan is unable to come. Janardhanan.
Yes, sir.
நீங்க சொல்லிடுறீங்களா? என்ன வராரா இல்லையா? அவர் கேளுங்க. ஃபோன் பண்ணுங்க அவருக்கு vote of thanks சொல்லுங்க. அவருக்கும் டெக்னிக்கல் இஷ்யூவா?
ஆடியோ மியூட் பண்ணுங்க.
அவருக்கு கைடன்ஸ் கொடுங்க. ஆல்டர்னேட் வச்சு பேச சொல்லுங்க.
தாங்கள் தொடர்பு கொள்ளும் எண் தற்சமயம் தொடர்பு தயவு செய்து பின்னர் முயற்சிக்கவும்.
மியூட் போட்டு பேசுங்க அவர்கிட்ட. Thanks, madam. Professor, madam. Thanks. Thank you very much. இல்ல மீன் டைம் நீங்க ஏதாவது vote of thanks சொல்றதுன்னா சொல்லுங்க மேடம்.
நானா?
Yes, because Dr. Rajan is unable to come due to technical issue, technical problem he is facing. இல்ல ஏதாவது வந்தவங்க ஒரு ப்ரொஃபசர் பார்த்தசாதிலாம் வந்தாருல்ல. சரி.
எல்லாரோட பேர் இல்லப்பா.
ஓகே.
சார் vote of thanks சொல்லிடுவோம் நானே.
நீங்க சொல்லிடுங்க. ஜனார்தனன் உங்ககிட்ட இன்விடேஷன் இருக்குது இல்ல, சொல்லிடுங்க.
I am Janardhanan, librarian, Madras Medical College. I thank all the organizers of SBV Balaji Vidyapith, Dr. Professor C.P. Ganesh Babu, Professor Subhash Chandra Parija, Vice Chancellor of SBV, Dr. Manorama Srinath, former HOD, Department of Library and Information Science, Madras University. Special address, Professor S. Pasadi, Dr. Siva Chidambaram. Felicitation address by Dr. K. Nityanandam, President Madras Library Association, former librarian and director, Anna University, Mr. K. Venkatamani, Secretary, Madras Library Association, and Dr. V.R. Rajan, Chief Librarian, SBV, and Organizing Secretary for this virtual online SRR birthday celebration. I thanks one and all, and for the participants. Thank you for this.
Any feedback? Any feedback questions you received? Any feedback? Feedback questions? Chat box. Did you receive any comments from the participant side?
So everything says wonderful program. That's all. There is no
They
other,
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any comments from the participant side? Feedback.
From foreign countries such as Ghana.
So, in foreign country, from the foreign country also, some of the participants watching this program, sir. Some of Ghana, like that.
Which country? Which country? From which
Ghana,
country they participated?
South African country, Ghana, sir. Ghana. Ghana.
Next. Any other comment you received?
It's a wonderful program.
They are appreciating our program, huh?
Yeah. They are encourage us to do this.
Encouraging. About the resource persons, about the inaugural address, about the keynote address, any other comments from that side? From
there is no special comments, sir.
Remarks. Okay, technical problem they faced, Dr. Rajan is facing technical problem.
He is always having the same problem, sir.
And another thing, Professor